Right, I'm just going to do a quick video for you of making a spoon, carving a spoon, but not out of wood, out of some tree bark. Right. Now, I'm not going to claim to be some sort of spoon carving expert or anything, far from it. I'm not very good at making spoons and stuff, but I come across this really thick bark. You see, that's about as thick as my finger. Really thick bark, and I was just looking at it and I had a knife on me and I thought I'm going to try and carve a spoon out of that. So I carved a spoon out of this bark. It doesn't look it, but from the smell of this when you cut it, I'm 99% sure this is from a eucalyptus tree. And this had been cut down, and then the logs was in the woods. Probably a tree in a garden, and then the logs was dumped in the woods. So parts of these bits of bark was all like hanging off anyway, so I pulled a bit off. And like I said, I was just out there in the woods and I thought, oh, I'm just going to try and carve a spoon. And it worked alright. So what I do, I'll show you how to carve one, and all I'm going to use is a knife. And I did make one before using an Opinel knife, but I didn't actually have a crook knife, but I did still make the bowl out of it. But I'm going to use the crook knife for the bowl of the spoon. I'll just put this, face this down. I've got a bit of leather on my lap, just so I can do this. It's not ideal to rest stuff on your leg if you're going to do stuff like this, but this bit of leather should protect it a bit. The only time I'm probably going to lean on my leg is maybe when I do the bowl, but if I was outdoors I'd probably just lean it on a log or something. And this one, I'm not going to draw the spoon on it or anything, I'm just going to start doing it. So first of all, I'm going to take the bark off each side. Well, there's not bark on that side, but the rough part of the bark on this side. And then I'll probably use this side for carving in the bowl of the spoon. So obviously when you carve, I'd already actually carved a little bit off of here. See, it's getting thinner. I might have done that a bit too much, but leave one end thicker to carve your bowl of your spoon into. Like I said, I'm just going to do this off the top of my head. I'm not going to bother drawing a spoon shape on it or anything. The only other thing I would recommend is obviously a sharp knife, and I like to carve with a knife with a fairly pointed end on it. Just makes kind of getting little turns easier. That's just me. Everyone's got their own way of doing things. Like I said before, I'm no spoon carving expert. So we've got a slight bend on it there now. See, with that nice pointed end you can get it a bit more deeper in there, if that's the right term. With the bark, very easy to carve. It's a little bit flexible if you look. but that would take a bit of breaking, and obviously a spoon's not going to have a lot of weight on it. Right, so that's that so far. Like I said, I'm no spoon carving expert, but now I did notice when using a crook knife and bark, it's slightly different to using wood. You got to kind of, it's hard to explain, but you got to kind of not saw it, but kind of give it a bit of, because it wants to kind of just give in. Kind of wiggle it back and forward a bit. You need to be careful doing this because the handle is quite flexible as well, and you're putting quite a lot of pressure on it, so you want to just be very careful with what you're doing. See, a lot of different motion to how you'd normally use a crook knife, well, how I normally use a crook knife anyway. Because it's still quite fibrous, and this bark is ever so slightly damp, it feels to me. What I'll have to do next time is dry some out a little more than this. You can kind of feel it, it's definitely kind of damp. You can't tell on the video, but even if you make one of these, it's still all good practice. Or if you just wanted to make a spoon really quickly, see, now it's carving a little better now. That's better. If I was outside, I wasn't filming this, I probably wouldn't do it on my leg like this. It's dangerous. I've got a bit of leather. This will probably stop it just about, but you shouldn't get in the habit of doing it on your knee, even on a bit of leather. You'd probably be better off resting it on a table or a log. But like I said, because I'm doing it on a video, I've got a bit of a bowl in there, but I have got a slight split just here. You can't smell it, but this really smells of eucalyptus. Just be careful as you carve in, not to come right through and out the other side. This hand, it's weird, this hand is getting a little bit achy now. A lot of people say that when your hands start to ache, have a break. And it probably pays to, really. Because that's just when you'll probably cut yourself, because you start doing stupid things. Got to hold this quite tight because, like I said, the handle's fairly flexible. You can't be holding it down here doing it. Should have made the handle thicker, or just carved the handle afterwards, really. But just remember, even a sharp, decent bushcraft knife will go through leather. Probably best not to do this. Got a bit of a split there. Just there. Oh well. Well, anyway, if this will focus. A bark carved spoon. You might be able to get a bit of sandpaper and just give that a bit of a go over inside. What I'll do some experimenting, find some different barks. See, this bark is quite stringy. If you see a bit here, it's quite fibrous, very stringy bark. Perhaps it might be better, as you can see on the ends, it comes off in like strands. Perhaps it might be better if I can find another piece of bark what isn't so stringy. But anyway, there is a tree bark spoon. You want to try it, whatever. A lot easier than doing it with wood, to be honest, a lot quicker. Alright, anyway, cheers for watching, and I'll see you next time.